we are looking at the angle between individuals' birthdays. We are trying to blend the quantitative with the qualitative, so that if you meet a person of a particular sign that is born under a particular zodiac sign, they'll be a certain angle away from you on the wheel. And that angle has the potential to condition your relationship. Not determine it, but to create some psychological structures and dynamics which can assist your growth if you know what to look for. We got up to, we considered the 1-1 relationship, someone born in your own sign. In your case, Belinda, it was meeting a fellow Sagittarian.
That's right.
The next one was the 2-12, 2-12, if you will put it on the screen here, as a 2-12, meeting somebody who's the sign, the immediately next sign from you. They're your second sign, and you're their 12th sign. There is this complementation, because you can't be their second sign. If they're your second sign, you must be their 12th sign.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got people opposite.
Well, I'm going to walk through this one increment at a time.
Yeah.
If you meet somebody 2 signs away from you, let's say your 3rd sign on the wheel, your first sign being Sagittarius, your second sign being Capricorn, what would your 3rd sign be?
Aquarius?
Aquarius, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, for you listening at home, start with your own birth sign and figure out what that 3rd sign is. If you're a Virgo, for example, it will be Scorpio. So what I'm going to say to Belinda about herself, a Sagittarius, relating to an Aquarian individual in her life, will apply to you, a Virgo, relating to a Scorpio individual. There'll be different flavours, of course, but there's an underlying common dynamic as well, and you can just focus on that. So if you meet Aquarius, they have been born at a moment in the cycles, because whatever is born in a moment of time bears the imprint of the energies of that moment. And so they're born such that they form what's called a sextile, or a 60-degree angle with you on the wheel. Little bit of arithmetic will tell you that 60 degrees is 1/6 of 360 degrees of the whole circle. 60 degrees is a 1/6. So we're looking at what the 6th harmonic of the circle. So they will be your 3rd house, and you will be their what house?
That's right. Hang on. If I'm their 3rd house, then
You'll actually be their 11th house.
Sorry, 11th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you'll add one number as you go from 2 to 3, and you'll subtract one number too.
That's right. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
I just had a
And
mental block.
It all balances out. So they will be your 3rd house, and you will be their 11th house.
That's correct.
Now this sextile angle gives facility in communication. And even that number 3 is a principle of mediation between two other points. Good communicators know how to bring people together because they know what each side needs to hear to understand each other. So good negotiators,
Numerology.
good mediators, good brokers, they know how to communicate between two parties. So what I'm trying to say is that this aspect is particularly favourable for communication. So you, as a Sagittarius, meeting an Aquarius, will find a facility in communication. In a sense, life is encouraging you to speak more freely and to learn more about yourself by communicating more openly, by articulating all your positions and thoughts. And generally speaking, if you meet a third sign individual from yourself, you will feel that not only is it easier to converse than, say, it is with a fourth sign person, but there's more to say. And you can virtually talk about anything. That's how it works looking at your third house. Now, I'm just touching on a salient feature here, but it should be enough for you to start observing in your relationships. Now, what about the Aquarian individual looking at the Sagittarian? Or the equivalent in your own case? Well, the 11th house, or the 11th, let me just say the 11th sign from your own, whole sign. So anybody born in Aquarius, whether they're at the beginning, middle or end of Aquarius, you treat them in the same way. But as I say, when they're exactly the whole angle from you, it becomes clearer, I think. But so somebody who's looking at their 11th house will see a person who is good friendship material, but also somebody who's a bit unconventional, maybe a bit unpredictable. There'll be something about them that and there's a strong strain of, they're not your normal kind of person. They're a bit different.
Not your average run of the mill, yeah.
Yeah, not your average run of the mill. But that feature about them, their unconventionality. Now, this will vary from relationship to relationship, but if you hold that idea of there's something a bit offbeat, unconventional, good weird about them, then that is a clue to follow. Because by holding on to that and getting to know that quality in the other, that quality that you perceive as unconventional, you will grow in consciousness. And the relationship will benefit.
Absolutely.
As opposed to insisting that the other be a straighty 180, straight-laced, conventional, just do things by the book, or fit into a particular system. They're out to revolutionize or change the system, the culture, the matrix that the both of you find yourself in. So start with that seed thought and ponder it when you're encountering the 11th sign from yourself. So in other words, Belinda, in your case, when you look at Aquarius, you're looking at your third sign. When they look at you, they're looking at their 11th sign.
At the 11th, yeah.
Who would you need to be looking at your 11th sign? Well, it would be a Libran.
A Libran.
Yes.
You.
So what I've just said about your 11th sign applies to Sagittarius looking at Libra. And looking is a spiritual looking here. It's not just an optical looking, it's a perspective. It would apply to an Aries looking at an Aquarius, or a Cancer looking at a Taurus. So start observing, and so is there truth to this? Are these mathematical relationships manifesting in the quality of the thought, the feeling, and the activity that I'm engaged in with this person? If it is, you would want to know about it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, for sure.
It have profound implications for how you conduct your relationships. They have profound implications for the nature of interpersonal relationship, and it has profound implications for peacemakers. Remember the 4 levels of peacemaking: the intrapersonal, and a lot of what I said about just observing your yearly round can be applied to that domain. There's intrapersonal conflict. There's interpersonal conflict resolution, that second level. And what I'm talking about now, the different perspectives between the signs, pertains to that as well. It can be a tool. If it works for you, if it clicks for you, it can be a tool to help you navigate those interpersonal relationships and resolve those interpersonal conflicts. The other 2 levels of conflict resolution, of course, by way of revision, are the intra-faith and the interfaith levels of conflict resolution. Let's get back to our round art and our angles. We've looked at the 1-1 relationship, the 2-12 relationship, the 3-11 relationship. The next one is the 4-10 relationship. It's when you meet somebody who's your 4th sign on the wheel. And when they meet you, they'll be meeting their 10th sign on the wheel, counting from their own sign. So think about it. Are you familiar enough with the order of the signs to tell me what your 4th sign would be? You're a Sagittarius.
Yes.
So what would your 4th sign be?
I think my 4th sign would be Pisces.
Correct.
Yeah.
So for the Pisces, you'll be their 10th sign, but they'll be your 4th sign. Now, there's quite a bit of structure and less wiggle room here. Remember, the 3-11 aspect was the energies flowed easily. They facilitated communication, engagement. But there's more rigidity in the 4-10 relationship. And that rigidity can also be experienced as support and foundation. The person who's the 4th sign from you may feel like they are an anchor point of family for you. If I meet my 4th sign, if it's even if it's a male who's younger than me, I may experience a kind of paternal, fatherly influence flowing from him. If it's a female younger than me, I may even feel a motherly, maternal influence flowing from her towards me. In some way or other, they give me a sense of a familial foundation, a home. We're not so much talking about a physical home or domicile, but a spiritual home. Think of it in that way. Your fourth sign, in some sense, I would argue, is providing a spiritual home and sense of belonging to you, an important element of your identity. In your case, Belinda, you'll have to run through Pisces individuals that you've known.
My father.
Right.
Of course.
And ask yourself whether this has the ring of truth about
it does. It does, definitely.
And so if you meet a new Pisces individual, be open to that. And if there seems to be that in some way they're providing this sense of spiritual belonging, yeah, go with that. There's benefit to be had from that. There is consciousness growth to be had from that. Because we are a gift to one another. Human beings are meant to be a gift to one another.
I think we can either be angels or demons.
Yes,
we can have that kind of effect on each other. Yeah.
Well, we can in the abstract, but in relation to each other, we're meant to be a gift supporting each other's growth.
That's what we're meant to be doing.
Yeah.
But we don't do that all the time, unfortunately.
No.
Some of us don't do it at all. They do the complete opposite.
Now, the Pisces person looking at you, a Sagittarius, will see you as their 10th sign, because you are their 10th sign. Right? But what is that? How does that translate in terms of dynamics and perception? The 10th sign has to do with lifting one's public status. Somebody who's your 10th sign, that is, born under the 10th sign, counting from your own, counting in the direction the sun goes in a year through the signs. Somebody born under that sign, there'll be something about your interaction with them that will bring more attention to your status, who you are in the world's eyes. It might lift your status. It should ideally lift your status. It should give you a better and a higher public profile.
And that's the 10th, is it?
Yeah, they'll bring you out into the public.
Okay.
Your 10th sign person, they'll tend to draw you into more public visibility and elevated status of importance. Go contemplate, go ponder. Now, if you're a Sagittarius, your 4th sign is Pisces, but what would the 10th sign be for you?
That would be Aquarius. No, sorry.
You're getting confused.
Getting confused.
Let me make it. You have to. It
It's
helps
easy,
when you
I know.
draw a wheel and then
Okay.
just count it out.
I need a wheel.
Yeah. No, you're dealing with a Virgo here,
A Virgo.
right?
which is 10.
Because
Which I have a friend who's a Virgo.
Sagittarius, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo. Have I missed something? Sagittarius
Did
is
you get
one.
Aries in there?
Sagittarius is 1. Capricorn is 2. Aquarius is 3. Pisces is 4. Aries is 5. Taurus is 6. Gemini is 7. Cancer is 8. Leo is 9. And Virgo is 10. Right? So the Virgo is your 10th sign. So think about Virgo people who have figured in your life, prominently or transiently, and ask
I have
yourself.
one prominent Virgo in my life.
Yeah,
She's overseas and we haven't seen that much of each other of late, but we have a very close bond.
right. Well, the role of the Virgo for you, or of the 10th sign individual for you watching this, is to drag you out into more public visibility, to a higher public status. Right?
Yeah.
It's not by accident. It's by it's by the quadrivium. It's by sacred geometry applied to the science of energies, the study of energies. And I know this might sound a bit woo-hoo to a lot of people.
Oh no.
But I've been trying to
Everything's
present
based
this
on energy.
in a most down-to-earth way, and giving you something that you can not take as dogma or gospel, but experiment with. It's just a hypothesis. This brings us to the 5-9 relationship, the next relationship. So let's start figuring out what the 5th sign is from your own. After a while, you just know these numbers and you will know immediately who your 5th sign is, who your 6th sign is, who your 7th sign is. If you end up being absorbed by this study, if it is for you, you will end up quickly assembling these relationships in your mind.
And I will.
Okay, so it's the sign after Pisces that will be your 5th, because you were just talking about Pisces being your 4th, or we were just talking about that.
Okay, so that would be Aries, wouldn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
So when you meet Aries individuals,
I've met quite a few of them.
Right. They're your 5th sign, but you'll be their 9th sign. That's why we call it a 5-9 relationship.
Yeah, boy, Aries are hard work.
Everybody's hard work in a different way.
Especially
Each of these relationships can be hard work in different ways. With the 5th, it can manifest in different ways. Romantic, it can manifest in that fashion, because there's something about that angle that has to do with specialness, and people feel special when they're romanced or viewed in a romantic light. It can be creative, and it can be offspring to do with this aspect. What kind of aspect are we looking at here? We're looking at 120 degrees.
It's a lot of fun hanging around.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's one long party.
Yeah.
Okay, and
But they're hard work.
this 120 degrees, the practitioners of the round art call a trine. It's a third of the circle. So there's a nice flow of energy between the two of you, you and your 5th house. And it's like a double trine from them back to you. There's still that nice flow of energy. You're swimming in this nice flow of energy. And that flow of energy gives you a pep You know,
That's right.
it's like a party atmosphere, but it's moving towards begetting offspring as well. Now, offspring are of two kinds. There's the offspring of one's loins, children, and there's also the offspring of one's imagination and creativity, one's creative offspring. An artist, when they complete a work, produce a work of art, that work, if it's an authentic work of art, goes on and has a life of its own. It seems to have a life of its own and an existence in the world, in interacting with other people and impacting the culture. It's kind of like the creator's offspring. And the same applies to technological creations as it does to aesthetic creations. So there's this sense of offspring there, could be romantic, something special, upbeat, good people to party with. Now, meanwhile, your fifth sign is looking at you as their ninth sign. Now, who would be your ninth sign? Because this is applying to you.
Scorpio?
No, it's actually Leo. For Sagittarius,
sorry, Leo. I love Leo.
the ninth sign will be a Leo.
Yeah, I get along very well with them, being a fire sign.
Yeah, both of you are in the fire element. I haven't gone into that, but we'll just put that aside. We're just looking at the angle here.
That's what I know nothing about is the angles, except for today I've learned something about them.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I've done a bad job at explaining it.
No, I've learned something now.
All right,
about
now,
the angles.
Okay, so think of yourself and a Leo. Think of Leos you've met.
Mm-hmm.
Been around.
Oh, they're so flamboyant.
For a duration or just transiently. They are flamboyant in themselves.
Mm.
I think most people would regard them objectively as flamboyant. But remember, I'm not just talking about Leos. I'm talking about one's ninth sign. So, you know, if you're starting and you're a Cancer, your ninth sign is Pisces. So, in the case of the Cancer person who's watching this video, they shouldn't be thinking of a Leo. They should be thinking of a Piscean.
But for me, it's a Leo.
Yeah, for you, it's a Leo. Now, with your ninth sign, there is a sense in which they're always calling to you spiritually to go beyond your comfort zone. Then, of course, we can qualify this by the element and other factors, but to go beyond your comfort zone.
Yeah.
For example, what does a life coach do? They've become quite popular in our time, in our day and age.
Bring you out of your shell.
The life coach gets you out of bed, maybe, well, a personal instructor is like the first level of life coach. They get you to the gym, they get you working out, they get you drinking the right shakes and eating the right food. And motivation. Go, and set your goals and have your purposes. And a full life coach has a full suite of mentoring possibilities to offer a person. They help them work on their relationships, their emotions, their goal setting, their study routines. Now, I just give an illustration of a life coach because they're trying to pull you beyond your comfort zone. This is a natural aspect when we're looking at our mentors, our guru figures, But a guru is very different than a life coach. Our spiritual teachers. Now, a guru is belongs in the Indian tradition.
It sure does.
It literally means a dispeller of darkness. But if you think about how people go about their religious practice in India, so many people have a guru.
Oh.
More than would have life coaches, I imagine.
Yeah, they all do.
But the guru would prescribe meditations and devotional exercises and tell them where they're going wrong in life, and then call them out and like, you're doing the wrong thing. Here, think like this. Slap them around a bit and just try and push them towards greater consciousness, enlightenment. So I'm saying that your ninth house has this natural tendency to try and lift you towards something higher. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So your ninth house is Leo. You have to consider
I should hang out with more Leos.
Leo personalities that you've met transiently or for a duration, and the real effect, the lasting effect they've had on your life. And then the next time you encounter a Leo, expect some of this sort of mentoring or pushing you beyond your comfort zone to take place. All right. We're getting through these. That was the 5-9 relationship. The next relationship is the 6-8 relationship.
6-8.
Right. What that means is a relationship between you and an individual that's in your life or comes into your life who's your 6th sign. So, if they're your sixth sign, you'll be their 8th sign when they count from their own sign. Let's use Sagittarius as an illustration. The 6th sign from you will be Taurus the bull. Right? So you're in this 6-8 relationship when you encounter a Taurian. You'll be their 8th sign. Now, who would be your 8th sign? Well, it would be the Cancer individual. But let's start with your 6th sign, in your case, Taurus. The dynamic here is based on the 150-degree angle, or the quincunx. And it is very favourable for work, occupation, and usefulness, being supportive or useful.
So I work well with Cancers.
Now, let's put your mind on Taurus. They're your 6th sign.
Oh, sorry, the Taurus.
So anything that has to do with the Taurus, its qualities, its time of year, and this applies to the time of year as well. There's favourable opportunity for employment or having your skills put to use. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you encounter a 6th sign individual, a Taurus in your case, it's natural to want to put your skills to use to help them in their project. Now, the classic way that this plays out is employment opportunity. Like somebody has a job to be done and you're able to do it. But I'm not talking about the whole construct of our society with its artificial rules and so on. Sometimes you get a coincidence of this. You'll find somebody actually being an employee officially to a 6th sign employer, and they might have a very streamlined relationship in the workplace. But even if you're out of the workplace and they're not your official boss or employer, there's something about the dynamic that kind of pulls you into their service, whereby you can put your abilities to work to help them in their own endeavour. They've conceived of the project, right? They've got the master strategy, but you've got the skills. You can do the lead work and so on. So bear that in mind.
Taurus is my...
I'm just hitting a salient point here.
Taurus is also my...
Don't complicate it. I know
Okay.
You know that's your rising sign as well, but we're not going there at the moment. We're simply looking at the angle from sun to sun.
Okay.
We can have a private conversation about that so that we don't confuse the video transmission.
Yeah, otherwise we'll become...
And if it's worthwhile, we can bring it in at another point and generalize it so that other people can benefit from it.
Absolutely.
Now, what about the 8th? Taurus, looking at Sagittarius, sees their 8th sign. You, as a Sagittarius, would have to be looking at a Cancer to see your 8th sign. Now, remember, what I say about the 8th sign individual also applies to the 8th sign in the year. So this can happen for you around July, but it can also happen when you meet your 8th sign individual. They may come into your life for a duration, or it may be transient. But when you meet your 8th sign, there'll generally be some sense of destinedness about the coming together. Like it didn't happen by chance. It was kind of meant to be.
Wow.
Another dimension to it. Again, I can only hit on a few salient points so that you can put these things to the test. Another dimension likely to be, there is something mysterious about this person. There's a kind of unfathomability about them, and that gives rise to a fascination. You're kind of drawn to them because there's something they know how to do that doesn't come readily to you. And maybe you think it doesn't come readily to people, but they're able to do it. It's just a native ability. Whether it's some intellectual gift or emotional or practical or physical gift or some skill, it's like, whoa, you're in awe of how they can do it and do it so well. So just go with that. Now, you notice that there is a complementarity, 6-8, because if you end up working for your 6th house, using your skills in support of their project, it's quite likely that they're quite amazed by your skills. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, if they could just have done that for themselves on their own project, they would have, but they couldn't. They needed somebody who could do it like that. And you're that somebody. You're their 8th house. But they're your 6th, so they give you the avenue, the forum in which to put those skills to work in support of them. But there is an exchange happening. And there is always an exchange of energy in interpersonal relationship. Energy is influence. And that influence is meant to be building us up as a species. Now, the last one I'm going to do now, because after that we're sort of backtracking, so you can extract all the information you want from what I've just said. The last one is the 7-7 relationship. It's you with your opposite number, your opposite sign. So if you're a Sagittarius, Your 7th house is Gemini.
Gemini.
Yeah.
The twins.
That's right. For the Gemini...
Gemini's always confused me though.
Woohoo! Well, everybody's going to perceive Gemini differently depending on where they are on the wheel in relation to Gemini, what kind of angle they have, sign to sign. Now for you, they're your 7th house. For them, you're their 7th house.
Wow.
We're looking at the second harmonic, the division of the
7,
circle down the middle. Yeah? Right? They're opposite and complementary. So there is a kind of dynamic, complementary tension between you and your 7th house.
Wow.
And remember what I was saying about going through your year as an individual and halfway through your year, seeing if there are motifs of partnership and opportunities for partnership. The 7th house makes a kind of, it's giving an opportunity for partnership of some kind.
Wow.
Now, if it's in work, it's more a partnership of equality. This is not the same as what we just looked at with the 6-8.
No.
That's not the employer-employee relationship is not a partnership of equality.
No.
There's a difference in status. But if 2 people start a business together as partners in a law firm or some other firm, for example, there's a partnership of equality. If 2 people start a relationship together, it may be a sexual relation, a sexual or a spousal relationship. There is an equality there, a partnership. And you need another salient point because you're not going to have a sexual relationship with every 7th house person you come across. You're not going to have a business relationship with every 7th. So what are we looking at in terms of the transaction, the exchange of energy? Well, dynamic opposition that is somehow complementary. Right? Then it could be feisty. It could be open conflict as opposed to Cold War. There may be even open conflict between the 2 parties, but out of that comes something creative and reformatory to the situation.
Yeah.
Because there's a dynamic tension. Mm-hmm. And if you go with the tension rather than say, oh, I wish it wasn't the case, why do we have to be fighting? Why does it have to be so volatile? Then out of that tension can come something beautiful, even miraculous.
I love that word, miraculous.
Do you see what I'm saying? We are given that tension and dynamism, and in some cases, open conflict for a reason. Anyway, we've covered the 1-1 relationship, the 2-12, the 3-11, the 4-10, the 5-9, the 6-8, and the 7-7.
You sure did.
There we have it. 12 signs in the zodiac, 7 special combinations for you to consider and start observing the motifs of in your interactions with other human beings.
That's right, Thomas.
We'll leave it at that.